We already have a right answer in the Hamilton Homicide mystery. I will screen share the comment that was left on YouTube by Toots2000. I suppose Toots is Teutonic. Either that or Toots has a problem with intestinal gas. Toots said, Dolly has to be lying. The rainbow is in the west. Burr seen it over the knoll Franklin was on when arriving. Then Burr mentions squinting in the eastern sunrise. Dolly says she saw both the rainbow and the sun behind Hamilton. Well, she did not say she saw the sun behind Hamilton, but we know this much. When you go from Manhattan Island to Weehawken, New Jersey, you have to go west, young man, as Ben Franklin said the map pointed out. And when the sun is rising, if it creates a rainbow after a rainstorm, the rainbow will be in the opposite part of the sky from the sun. And so, in the morning, the rainbow would be in the west, the rising sun in the east. Hamilton's back was to the east. You could not see a rainbow in the east in the morning. You would only see the sun. Now, Aaron Burr did indeed see the rainbow when he was getting out of the boat and looking up the grassy knoll because he was looking west. But if Dolly said that she saw a rainbow, she could not have been standing next to Aaron Burr as his second. Instead, she must have been in the boat on the river, looking up toward Hamilton's back, where she was taking aim. And she did indeed see a rainbow, but she did not see it in the east. There's one more little detail that Toots points out. Hercules said the four of them ran down the hill, but there was supposed to be 5 plus Hamilton. This is why it didn't add up, what Hercules Mulligan said, as Ben Franklin pointed out. Who would have been at the duel? The 2 duelists, Hamilton and Burr. Their 2 seconds should have been there, Ben Franklin and Dolly Madison, and also, of course, there were Lafayette and Hercules Mulligan. That's 6. One of them died. 5 people would have had to run down the hill to find the boat after Hamilton died, but only 4 did. Why? Because one of the seconds was not there. Burr was apparently too distracted with his conscience to notice this. And so the second that Burr should have had at his side, Dolly Madison, was actually in the boat taking aim at Hamilton's back. She scrawled an M in the side of the boat while waiting. She left the almanac behind, which contained the map and the time of the sunrise. And finally, she left behind those crumbs. Crumbs from a Dolly Madison cupcake. Dolly is guilty, and Toots 2000 figured it out. So Toots wins the prize, which is absolutely nothing. However, we do have a word from our sponsor. I'm Kevin O'Brien, and Upstage Productions is the name of the company that I run. Normally, we do these shows live. Murder can be lots of fun. We perform at wineries. We perform on board dinner trains. And we've been doing this. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've written all of these shows. We typically perform about 200 shows a year at our various venues. But of course, that all has been reduced to 0. Why? Well, if you haven't heard, we've got this pandemic. And the most dangerous thing, apparently, that you can do is be indoors for 3 hours with a crowd of people, 100 or more, jammed together, laughing. So anyway, we're not doing any live shows for the foreseeable future. And because of that, of course, I'm starving. I'm having to live backstage here in this theater, and this is really only a green screen. It's not actually a real theater. That gives you some idea of what I'm having to do. Now, when we typically do these shows, we perform them, and the people in the audience get to play the suspects. The suspects are not just pictures with animated mouths. They're actual people who want to participate by acting in our shows. And we give them little scripts, little sides to read from. Sometimes they have a lot of lines. Sometimes they only say howdy do. Sometimes they have no lines and they have to make everything up. but it's very spontaneous because we deliberately pick the most outgoing people to portray the suspects, especially if they've been drinking or if they seem unpredictable. We pick them to keep the shows spontaneous. And of course, everyone in the audience is invited to suggest clues that they've noticed and people they think might be guilty. At the end of our live performances, they vote on who they think done it, and the winner, the best sleuth in the audience, does get a prize, usually a bottle of wine. Anyway, that's how it usually works when we're actually performing live on stage. Since the lockdown, I've been doing these shows online, mostly for middle school and high school students, and that's been a lot of fun. But I figured if the cast of Hamilton can film their show, I can film mine, darn it, which is, of course, what I did. You can help me by going to my Patreon page, patreon.com/grunky, or you can go to my website, grunky.com, and get to the Patreon from there. For only $5 a month, you get access at least to my weekly podcast. For a little more than that, there's other things I put up, some of my audio books, some of the other things that I do, some special videos that I do only for supporters. And if you're a top tier supporter, you can join us in our monthly live book clubs on Zoom. We've got a great book club going in which we discuss the works of Eric Vogelin, who's one of the most insightful writers of the 20th century. Almost as insightful a writer as I am, as you can tell by the tremendous script that constituted the Hamilton Homicide. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon.